everyone, welcome to our second Sage Garden Project lesson. If you recall, in our first Sage Garden Project lesson, we had created our Cook Grow journals. You can see mine pictured here. And remember, your own journal cover may look completely different. That is exactly what we want. We don't want copies of each journal cover. Instead, we want to make sure that everyone is showing their own unique perspectives and their own unique personality as we are going through making these journals. So today we are going to get into our next Sage Garden Project lesson, and we are actually going to be working on some observation skills. So when we observe, we can categorize our observations two different ways. One way is quantitatively. If you're listening to that word, quantitative, say it with me one more time, quantitative. If we're looking at something quantitatively, we have that root word quantity. When we think of quantity, we think of numbers or values. The other way that we can make observations, or we can categorize our observations, is qualitatively. Say it with me, qualitatively. And that's when we look at things that can't necessarily be described using numbers or values. So how we may feel about something. Those are things that we could use to describe our qualitative values. And today we are going to be recording in our Cook Grow journal some different qualitative and quantitative observations that also require us to use our five senses. We're actually going to be focusing on 4 of our senses because the taste one is a little bit hard. So the one that we're going to be focusing on is sight, or how something looks with our eyes, how something sounds with our ears, how something feels with our skin, and how something smells with our nose. The other one is taste, but we definitely don't want to just taste everything. So we may not be tasting certain things. So today I can make observations that use numbers, or quantitative observations, and observations that do not use numbers, observations that are qualitative, by using my 5 senses: taste, stick your tongue out, touch, rub your hands together, smell, breathe in deeply, sight, blink your eyes, and hearing, or touch your ear, to describe what I taste, what I feel, what I smell, what I see, and what I hear. So take a second and think about those 5 senses. Okay. So now that you have all had some time to think about those 5 senses, we are going to get into our vocabulary match. Feaster students, if you have a link to the Google Slides document, you are more than welcome to open it. And this is actually an interactive slide. We have our different vocabulary words over here on the left, and then we have pictures that match each of those vocabulary words. So what you can do on this interactive slide, when you have the link open, you can click on the word, drag it over the picture that it matches with. So take a second, let's look at those pictures. The first one, I have someone who is writing. The second one, I have a map with some red pins marking something on it. The third one, I have someone who's looking at something or analyzing something. The fourth one, I have someone who's pointing at some different emotions or feelings. The fifth one, I have a person who looks like they're outside analyzing something. They have some gloves on and looks like they're doing some tests or something on a plant. The sixth item, I have some different measuring spoons. And the last item, I have a mouth, a hand, an ear, a nose, and an eye. So our words, we're going to read these 2 times. The first time, I just want you to listen and follow along as I read across. Location, observe, qualitative, 5 senses, quantitative, field scientist. Take a moment, read those words to yourselves. Okay, now that you have had some time to read those words, Please pause the video. Take a moment to get your vocabulary match done. Please make sure that you take a screenshot of it once it's finished and turn it into your teacher. Now that you have all finished your vocabulary match, we are going to get into our 4 main questions for this lesson. Our first one, why do we make observations? How do we make observations? What are the tools that a field scientist could use to make a quantitative observation? What kinds of observations can be made quantitatively? Take a second, my guys and girls. I want you to write down your predictions. You can either leave them in the chat here, or you can leave them in the comments below, or you can even write them in your journal if you would like to add them. If you need to take a screenshot of this, go ahead and do that now. And if you would like to pause the video while you get those questions predicted, you are more than welcome to do so now. So now that you have had some time to kind of start thinking about the 4 main questions that are going to guide our lesson, we're actually going to get into our lesson right now. So we are going to be going outside with a caretaker, or if we don't have anyone with us, that's okay. We can stay inside and we can find an object to describe both quantitatively and qualitatively right in our homes. So when we record in our Cook Grow journal, we are going to be recording one specific item, and we're going to use our 5 senses to record our observations about that item. So this lesson will have 4 parts. I'm going to take a screenshot of these parts because my first part is starting off my journal entry, and I can actually add that screenshot right into my journal entry. My second part is where I get to be a field scientist and I get to find an object in nature. My third part is where I'm going to start adding some of the regular data to my journal entry. And my fourth part is where I'm going to be recording what I see, hear, touch, smell, and if you can taste it, taste. But taste is an optional one because remember, we don't want to put anything that isn't food in our mouths. Okay, so now I will go into my notes. And I'm going to add a new note. To add a new note, I just click my pencil button. And I'm going to click, and I'm going to write that my observations are both quantitative. Oops, looks like I spelled that wrong. There we go. Oh, I missed a T, I think. There we go. And in parentheses, I'm going to do a number sign. I know most of you guys probably, and girls probably noticed that as a hashtag, but it's also a number sign, which represents numbers. And qualitative. And here I'm going to put a heart because how much I like something can't always be measured, or how I feel about something can't always be measured. Okay. So I'm now going to add my picture, that screenshot that I took, and I'm going to add it right into my notes. That way I can just go into my notes and I can look and see exactly what it is that I'm supposed to do. Okay, so my first part, I've started my journal entry. My second part, I get to be a field scientist with my caregiver and find an object in nature. If you don't have a caregiver with you right now, or someone who takes care of you, you can find an object inside of your home. So I've already found an object. This is actually a pretty special object to me because Mrs. Young gave me this beautiful orchid. And I just think that it is the most amazing thing. So I chose that as my field scientist area of study. And this is what I'm going to be making my quantitative or my numerical observations of, and my qualitative observations of. So I'm looking in part 3, and I need to write the date. So I will just get that added here. So the date today is Tuesday, February 9th, And then the time, I'm looking at the time right now. It is 3:48 p.m. Thank goodness it's not 3:48 a.m. Oh my, that would be so early. My location. Oh, I don't want to yell it. My location, I am currently in San Diego, California. CA is a great abbreviation for California. Ooh, weather. Okay, we can actually check the weather and get some exact quantitative data about our weather. If I go to my home screen and start typing in weather, guess what it tells me right there? It is 58 degrees right now. Ooh, 10% chance of rain. Yikes. Okay, didn't know that before. Cool. So I can add that quantitative data because it has a number. It's something that I can measure. Degrees. I don't know if we have degree symbol on here. Ooh, I guess not. I'm just going to put F so that they know that it's Fahrenheit, not in Celsius, which are two different ways to measure our temperature. So now I have the date, I have the time, I have the location, and I have my weather. So now I'm ready to start marking up what it is that I see on this beautiful orchid that Mrs. Young gave me. So I see, and we can just list out some of the things that we see. If you want to do it as a check box or as some heading points, you can just click your A there and that will bring it up. Ooh, I see that it's a flower. I see that it is white with yellow. So right now, I kind of have two things that are more qualitative because they don't really have numbers that go with them. So I'm looking at my item and I'm like, okay, what can I count? Ooh, oh, I can count the number of petals. Okay, so I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 petals. And I could even get more specific. I may say that it has 1, 2, 3, 4 large petals, and our fast math people are like, oh, that means 3 small petals, or 3 smaller petals. So next up, I would write some information about what I feel. What I feel. So this is a fun one because this is where you get to actually touch your item. Now, as I touched my item, it was so soft, guys and girls. Oh my gosh, I was actually very surprised at how soft it was because I haven't really touched it. I haven't wanted to mess it up, but it was very, very soft. So my guys and girls, right now that you have seen some of the samples in our Cook Grow journal, I'm going to have you go back and I want you to start to do this on your own as well, or with your caretaker. I want you to find an object and then I want you to write out the quantitative and qualitative ideas that or observations that you can make. So go ahead and pause the video, take some time and complete that activity. Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm so excited to have you all back here now that you have gotten your observations done. I hope that you made some great quantitative or numerical observations and some great qualitative observations or things that you can feel or not necessarily measure. So I want to take a moment and I want to go back to our questions. What are some reasons why we make observations? How do we make observations? What are the tools that a field scientist could use to make a quantitative observation? What kinds of observations can be made quantitatively? And I want you to pause this video, add some information in the chat below, or add it to the comments below, or you can also write it down in your Cook Grow journal. So go ahead and look back at the answers that you had before when you pause this video and reflect on how your answers may have changed, and go ahead and make any annotations or changes that you would like. Okay, welcome back everyone. So our closing discussion question. When we talk about feeling, we've talked about touch as a sense, and you can feel things with your hands, or you can feel things up against your cheek or with your skin, but we can also feel things different ways. So I want you to think for a little bit. What are the different meanings of what I feel? So take some time, go ahead and pause this video, or it will stop pretty soon here, and think about both meanings of what I feel, and try to come up with some different situations or some different circumstances when you may feel touch, or you may feel something with your heart. So I'm going to leave you all with that closing discussion. Thank you so much for joining us for our Cook Grow journal, and I'm very excited to follow up with you all and see what your next journal entry looks like. Have a great day, everyone. Bye for now.